class with an assignment which I gave to you. I gave you an assignment which some of you are yet to solve, and I have made the correction. I have given the correction to the assignment which I pasted on the class WhatsApp group. Then let me solve it so that you see the process of solving such a problem in case you come across it again. We say that a ship sails 110 km from a port P on a bearing of 35 degrees and then 116 km on a bearing of 105 degrees to another point Q. Calculate the distance PQ and the bearing of Q from P. So this assignment was given in our program. So let's solve it. Let's have our correction. So we said that a ship sailed what? 110 km from a port P. So let's call here our port P. Yes. So we have our North South Pole on a bearing of what? 35 degrees. So we measure our 35 degrees. So something of this. So let's be at 35 degrees. Then when it gets to a particular spot, let's assume this is the spot it gets to. It then sails another 160 km on a bearing of 105 degrees. So we turn 105 degrees and we move 160 km. So we start turning, let's assume here to be 105. So it now move forward 116 km to another point Q. So this point is Q. So we call this point Q. So the question we were asked to calculate what the distance PQ. We had to calculate this distance, but they gave us the distance between this P, between P and the first point where it reached as what? 110 km. They also gave us the distance between the point it reached to Q as what? 160 km. So they gave us what? 2 points, and we know that this angle is 35 degrees. And this angle is 105 degrees. So let's call this area R. Let's call this area R. So here will be small arrow. So this will be small arrow. This will be lowercase p, and this will be lowercase q. So let me transform this so I can have a better view of it. Yeah, this is it. So this is our p where it starts a journey and move to a point Q, which is what? 35 degrees from P. Then from the point arrow, it moves to a point Q, which is what? 105 degrees from what? Arrow. So we have here as what? 116 km. P arrow Q. This line is 160 km. This line is 110 km. So let us find, before we proceed, let us find angle Y. Angle Y. If we look, this is a straight line. Yes, that's a straight line. And since it's a straight line, the sum of angle on a straight line is 108 degrees. So this entire angle is what? 108 degrees. So this entire angle is 108. So since this entire angle is 108 degrees, they have cut 105 from it. So if they cut 105 from it, so what is remaining is what? Y. So to get Y, we simply do Y is equals to 180 minus 105. So what we have as the value of Y is simply 75. So Y is equals to 75 degrees. That's for Y. So if we have gotten Y, we can easily get the value of S. S is much easier. S is easier to get. What we simply do, this is a straight line, and this is a straight line, the north south pole. The two north south pole, they are what? Parallel. They are what? Parallel. They can never meet. And we have a transcender. This is a transcender. So since they can never meet, we have alternate angle here. This 35 is equal to this S. They are what? Alternate angles. We say that alternate angle, they are what? Equal. So S is equals to what? 35 degrees. And Y is equals to what? 75 degrees. Now this entire angle is what? S plus Y. So that entire angle is what? This entire angle we said is what? S plus Y. So it simply equals to what? 35 plus 75. So x plus y, which is that entire angle, is equal to 110 degree. So that angle is what? 110 what degree. So we call it angle R. So angle R is what? 118 degree. So this entire angle is 110 degree. So let me transform it. Let's proceed. Okay, now before we start solving, the previous example we did, we use trigonometry ratio. We use SOHCAHTOA. Why did we use SOHCAHTOA? Why do we use trigonometry ratio? We use trigonometry ratio in the previous example because this angle was 90 degree. And since that angle was 90 degree, it simply implies that it was a right angle triangle. And I told you that for a right angle triangle, what you do, you can either use sine rule or cosine rule. So you use either Pythagoras theory to look for side or sine trigonometry ratio to look for the angles or the what side. So that was why we use what? Trigonometry ratio. But this one, our angle is 110 degree. Since it is not a right angle triangle, we cannot use trigonometry what? Ratio. So we use sine rule or cosine rule. Now let's look at the condition of using cosine rule and sine rule. Look at the condition for using cosine rule and sine rule. Let us look at cosine rule first. For cosine rule, the necessary condition is that the angle must not be a right angle triangle. The angle must not be a what? Right angle what? Triangle. Ensure that your triangle is not a right angle triangle. Because if it's a right angle triangle, you can't use cosine rule. Then we can use cosine rule when all the three sides of a triangle is given. When all the three sides of a triangle is given and we're looking for one of the what? Angles, we can use cosine rule. Or two sides of the triangle is given and one angle in between is also given. Two sides of the triangle is given and one angle in between is given. So let's go back to our diagram. Now they gave us one side and two sides. They gave us an angle in between the two sides. So it implies that this one we saw use cosine rule. So let's proceed. Let's go back to our table. But when to use sine rule, look at it. I don't want to bulk you with too much information. Just apply this simple logic. First of all, the triangle is not a right angle triangle. Check if you can use cosine rule. If you cannot use cosine rule, sine rule will work. Let me repeat myself. Check if the angle is a right angle triangle. If it's not a right angle triangle, check if it can be solved using cosine rule. But if it cannot be solved using cosine rule, then use your sine rule to what? Solve it. So for what we have our angle as y. I have explained that y is equals to what? 75 and s is equals to what? 35. So when we add s and y together, it gives us what? This angle as 110 degree, which is what we have here. Let's proceed. So we now apply the cosine rule. I said that if they give you two sides and an angle in between, you can use cosine. So they gave us two sides and an angle in between as 110 degree. So we said that I earlier said that this angle is what? R, which is 110 degree, Then the opposite side of angle R is what? Lowercase r. The opposite side of Q is what? Lowercase q. R, lowercase q. And the opposite side of angle P is what? Lowercase what? P. So what we simply do, we impute all the figure into the word formula. So the rule, cosine rule, we are looking for r. So r square is equals to p square plus q square minus 2pq cos r. That's the cosine word formula. So we don't have r, so we put our r square is equals to what? The value of p is what? 116 degree. The value of p is what? 116 degree, which is this value, 116 degree. That's the value of p. Plus q square. So this is q, 110 kilometer, which is 110 kilometer, minus 2pq. So 2pq. Then cos r. arrow is what 110 degrees, so we put our cos 110 degree. So what we simply do at this point is to divide 116 square is equals to 13456. Yes. Then 110 square is equals to 12100. Yes. Then 2 minus 2 times 116 times 110 is equal to 25520. Then cos 110 is equal to minus 0.3421. Why is it minus? In the first quadrant, all the trigonometry they are what? Positive. Second quadrant, only sign is positive. Third quadrant, only tan is positive. Fourth quadrant, only cos is positive. We'll look at that later. Then what do we simply do next? It's very simple. We just apply simple algebra. 13456 plus 12100 is equals to 2556. Then minus 25520 times minus 0.3420 is simply 28727.84. So when we add these two together, it will give us 3428.3. Then we are looking for r, not arrow square. What we have here is arrow square. We are not looking for arrow square, we are looking for arrow. So we take the square root of both sides. We take the square root of this side and the square root of what? This side. So the square root of arrow square is what? R, which is this. Then we take the square root of this figure. We take the square root of this figure. When we take the square root of that figure, what we have, arrow will now be 185.16 kilometer. So this line PQ, which is the distance of P for Q, is 185.16 kilometers. So we have gotten the three side. So the next thing they ask us to find is the bearing of Q from P. The bearing of what? Q. This is Q from what? P. That is how many degree will the sailor or the ship turn from point P before seeing what? Q. You know they are all what? North, face north. So how many degree will it turn before we see what? Q? So we start turning like this, turn. It will first turn that 35 degree. It will keep turning and turning and turning. When it gets here, that's when it will stop. And that's when we now say what? Q. So we want to look for this angle. We want to look for what? This angle, which is the degree it will turn. And it's very easy to get. The angle is what? 35 plus what? Theta. 35 plus what? Theta. So we have to get what? Theta. How do we get theta? This is a triangle. This is a triangle. So we can simply apply what? Sine rule to get theta, or cosine rule. You know, why can we apply cosine rule? We can apply cosine rule because we have given three sides. One side is got to, this one has been given, then we solve this one. So we can apply what? Cosine rule. But I don't want to apply cosine rule since sine rule will work. Why will sine rule work? We have what? Two sides given, and one of the we are given two sides. One angle, are looking for one of the what? Opposite angle. So we can reduce what? Sine rule. So let us use sine rule. So remember, sine will state that this angle P is of P over sine theta. So P over sine theta is equals to R, which is 185 rather, equals to 185, which is R, divided by sine what? R, which is what? Sorry, 110. So this is 110, not sine 30, sine 110. So we apply the cosine rule there. So what we simply have is as follows. So P is what? 116 all over sine theta is equals to R, which is what? 185.2 all over sine 110. So what we simply do, we cross multiply. We what? Cross multiply. So 16 we cross multiply. So which is for 116 times sine 110, which is this. Then we now cross multiply these two. 185.2 times sin theta will give us this. So the next thing you do at this stage is as follow. After you have cross multiplied, this is what you will have. Then what we are looking for theta, not 185.2 sin theta. So we divide both sides by the coefficient of what sin theta, which is what 185.2. So divide both sides of the equation. So when we divide both sides, this is what we have. We will have this 185.2. We divide both sides. So this is what we have. So sin 116 sin 110. So sin 110 is 0.9397 times 116 divided by what? 185.2. Then 185.2 we cancel 185.2. What we have left is sin theta. So sin theta is equals to this. So what we want to do now at this point is to punch everything directly into your calculator. 116 times 0.9397 divided by 185.2. When you punch everything into your calculator, what you will have is 0.5886. So what we are looking for is not sin theta. What we are looking for is what? Theta. So what we simply do at this point is to divide both sides by sin theta. So if we divide both sides by sin theta, we will have theta remaining on the left hand side. Then if we divide this side by sin theta, we take this sine inverse of that 0.5886. So the sine inverse of 0.5886 is 36 degree. And by now you already know how to get your sine inverse with your calculator. You press your shift sign, then 0.8556. So S is what? 36 was. Sorry, theta is 36 for degree. Now the bearing of Q from P. Let's go back to the diagram. The bearing of Q from P is what? This angle. This what? Angle, which is what? 35 plus theta will give us that angle. So what we simply do now, the bearing of Q from P is what? Theta plus what? 35 degree. And we got theta as what? 36. So 36 plus 35 is equal to 0.071 degree. I used 3-digit bearing. So you put your answer at 3-digit what? Bearing. So that